So this is the second video on landscapes and how the land looks the way it does, the reason why it does look the way it does, and it has to do with drainage patterns. So drainage patterns are determined by the way that the landscape, the bedrock underneath it, and the shape of the land. So the way the water flows. When I talk about drainage, I mean streams and how they flow over the land. So there's four different shapes that you just need to be familiar with. Dendric. Dendrite is referring to trees and the way a tree grows. And if you look here, you can see that this looks kind of like the way trees branch or how roots grow. These are tributaries feeding into a main trunk of a stream. We talked about that back when we were talking about stream erosion. The most common stream pattern is this dendric type. The tributaries seem to flow in the same direction, creating a larger stream, and again, they look like branches on a tree. This is usually in places where the landscape is just going downhill. You can sort of see this is going downhill, but there's no disruption into the rock layers. They're still horizontal. There's a stream, and if you look, these are satellite images from Google Earth of dendric patterns from streams that are flowing the way that they're flowing in. The next is what's called a radial pattern, and you can sort of see this radial pattern. It occurs when a stream flows away from sort of a high point. It looks like spokes on a wheel, and if you look at a diagram here, this high point might be a mountain or a hill, and it's radiating out from there. They develop from these places where you have lava domes or volcanoes, those sorts of things. So you can sort of see, if we were to look at this spot, if water was going to flow out, it'd flow out in all directions from that one spot. Same here. All right. The other is what's called an annular. It occurs where we have one of these hills that was eroded at the top, and it's this very strange pattern where certain rocks are more resistant than others. And we've talked about the certain rocks being more or less resistant, and it actually makes it look like this circular sort of pattern where it's flowing out from the center of this dome that was eroded away, and then it flows out to that main trunk. So you can sort of see where it kind of flows out from the center point out from there. It appears in a circular pattern. And then finally, these rectangular, which are very strange. They're straight lines that then branch off from each side. And generally what happens is you get a place where the plates have collided. It causes a fold or a bend, and certain rock layers, you can see here, this rock layer is less resistant. This layer right here is less resistant. Let me get a different color. This one right here is less resistant all the way through here, and it continues on the side because it was a fold. It was once the same layer. It is the same layer, and it was horizontal, but now this one's less resistant. The one that's more resistant sticks up a little bit, and so what ends up happening is you get water flowing in parallel rows from in those areas, and then they can sometimes branch through areas that broke down in those more resistant rock layers. So they look like parallel lines, tributaries going into those paths. So if I sort of move this out of the way and scroll this up, you can sort of see in stream valleys here, these would be similar parallel layers, and in areas where you have, let's go back to this example here, this area would lend itself to it as well, and you can see where it folded. These layers here were less resistant. These were less resistant, and so they wore down, and so water is going to flow in these lower valleys here, and they may flow in this direction and in this direction, and that will cause this sort of rectilinear shape to the way that the drainage pattern looks. So those are your four drainage patterns, and that's it. So that's a short one. just wanted to let you know we will finish the other part of this in class. So I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you soon.